Hello there, this is Warpath 1985 speaking. In today's day 3 to 12 Days of War, I shall be discussing the Transformers Studio Series 86 Snarl and Swoop, and comparing them with the other Dinobots, including another version of Snarl that I do actually own. So, to discuss the general character of both Swoop and Snarl, I would like to first mention that as beforehand, I'm even talking about the G1 specific versions of these two characters. However, we'll compare Star Wars World Snarl with G1 Studio Series 86 Snarl, if you're curious. Besides that, both Swoop and Snarl were part of the second batch Dinobots introduced in Season 1 of Transformers. They will pretty much be very consistently shown off or repairing roles, etc. later on in Season 1 and 2, and also Season 3. However, infamously in the Transformers movie, Swoop was like the Dinobots perfectly shown off relatively the most compared to Snarl, who was infamously absent for most of the film, because if I recall correctly, his animation cell wasn't repassed around in the Toei office, or animation office technically, which meant that he was pretty much mostly absent throughout the whole film, except for in the when they're escaping All City and when they're inside the Junkion's ship. Besides that was pretty much it for Snarl and for G1. They did appear in Headmasters as well, manga, and later on the Legends manga, etc. They did appear also in Dreamwave, Devil's Due, and IDW. So far not in the Skybound yet, but the other characters from that specific era of G1, that being 84, 85, are appearing. So hopefully they do appear there someday. But that is pretty much it for the both of them, besides during comes to toys. And to best describe it, both of them have received varying levels of new toys here and there. Obviously most of them varying scale, and with the later class versions introduced in 86, which ones I have, they're much larger character avatar figures, and especially the previous versions, which were much smaller. Or other times you would have the case where both of them would be recolors of previous Stegosauruses and pterodactyls. But other than that, that's pretty much it for both of them, considered general history. When it comes to the toys, they're actually very good when it comes to articulation and also just general features. Overall, the figures look very good with each other, along with the previous released Dinobots. Now, first we'll be talking about Snarl, since he was released earlier compared to Swoop, who was the last Dinobot released back in 2024, I believe. So Snarl's distribution was comparatively to their Dinobots was probably the worst overall, because I couldn't really find it for pretty much the entirety of 2023. Only found them at Frankenstein's, all enough, at back in 2024. Eventually I found Swoop later on. Besides that, Snarl's articulation and his general accessories are pretty much the same as compared to the other Dinobots. Now when it comes to accessories, Snarl does come with a sword, unlike the other Dinobots. I might be incorrect by that, because the consistency of these characters coming with or without their swords is pretty high for the most part. But when it comes to articulation, Snarl actually has a lot. So he has the same general panel, look up and down head articulation. He also has a ball joint that's much more articulated and much more free in comparison to other Dinobots as well. He has almost like a detinted, slight detinted hinged shoulders. He also ratcheted when moving forward and back. He also has excellent double jointed elbows because of his transformation. Sword wielding wrist as well because of transformation. Wrist rotation. Waist rotation. Ball has the best leg articulation of all of them. It's also ratcheted too. Like, it can go really far. Which is probably why he's most likely my favorite Dinobot of all 5. Maybe just because his circulation is just really good. Which is perfect for sword poses, obviously. He also has a ink articulation, which similar to that of Sludge. It doesn't have that little panel, or particularly just that extra piece of plastic that fills in a little space here. Which is unfortunate, but oh well. This happens when we turn to a much more beefier, I guess, dinosaur. Now for Swoop. Similar to comic book edition slash version slash 40th anniversary Grimlock, he does come with an extra sword. However, unlike Grimlock, he does come with excessively a lot more swords. In the case of Swoop, he actually comes with Grimlock's sword. Which obviously you can do Grimlock like so, which is pretty cool. But generally, he just comes with his own unique sword, which is accurate to his original toy, because he actually did come with only one sword, I believe, and his only weapons were really his missile launchers, which are also included here. They're both removable. It can be held in the figure's hand, and you do have a removable missile as well. As you can see, it is a softer, like, plastic. So yeah. But they're tended to be on the wings. Now when it comes to Swoop's articulation, however, he does have articulated wings, which can untab the chest panels over here. He does have butterfly joints. He does have mainly just not ratcheted shoulders. He mainly has ratcheted shoulders, unfortunately. Hinged elbows, a wrist rotation inwards. Comes the wrist because of the transformation. He does have very nice leg articulation on a softer ratchet, oddly enough. Similar to that of Sludge, but it's not as loose in comparison. And there goes the panel again. But it has a probably deepest knee bend, once again due to the transformation. Also has ankle articulation, which does have that little filler panel type piece here, but it's not as good in comparison. But at least he has it, like Snarl, if you're curious about that. He also has a ball jointed neck, which is hinged as well, both forward and back, because of a transformation similar to all the other Dinobots. And that's pretty much it for articulation for both the figures. Now, for comparison, I like to mainly first show off for Snarl, that being a Cyber World Snarl. And as you can see, Cyber World Snarl is dwarfed by his larger figure cousin, or technically older brother, because it was released about I believe 2 years earlier. Yeah, because it was back in 2023, I think. Can't quite remember. But here is Snarl and Swoop with the other Dinobots, if I can fit them all in frame. Which is hard because, well, they're all very big. Especially since Snarl is technically the largest Dinobot of all of them. You think it'll be like Sludge because he's turns to a sauropod. Which, once again, I think it's called sauropod. I just forget about that. Which one goes which, or what technical shark's name it is, but yeah, technically Snarl is the largest overall. But Swoop technically being the shortest, relatively speaking. However, infamously with the Studio Series figure you see here, he's far, like, too small to generally scale with the others. Even though we're closer to size with the animated version of Swoop, which is good for anime fans, but also good for G1 fans who, I myself, including many others, are kind of like, I don't know. It doesn't really work. Works better when all in poses, though, if you're curious about that. But not so much when they're all in A stance, like this. But yeah, here's all the Dinobots together, if you're curious about that. And along with Wheelie, if you can stand. So yeah, that's about it, and let's move on to transformation for Snarl and Swoop. Alright, so first we're going over the transformation of Snarl. It's actually fairly easy for the most part. It's just the finickiness just gets generally is part of mainly legs. I was trying to figure out like what parts are the most finicky. It's definitely the legs. Like here, you have to like really push on it. Like this is the part of me like struggle with it. Just trying to get everything together. Just push in there. So this one was like halfway there. Just have to like fix it, those legs. Now let's see if I can get this done. There we go. And there is Snarl in his Stegosaurus mode. Let me just get the sword on there. His mouth. Very nice. For Swoop, I may just be using his sword and not the Grimlock's sword. What's the storage further on? But generally, yeah. Just have to put these in. Flip up the head. It's like get your hand there. Maybe just like Well, suppose you have to break it. Really? Let me just. There now. And similar to like the Snarl but slag. It's like claps like chest in. And after that, you fold out these wings. Like that. Connect the arms to the wings, like so, and then you just like plug these in. And yeah. You are pretty much done for Swoop. And just like fix his back here. Yeah. And yeah. That's them together. For articulation of this first go with Snarl here. It's mainly just ball joints, like a very, very big ball joint. And like the front legs, these can hinge before the back. These also hinge before the back and rotate as well. Have the same general ratchet joints here, because they are the arms, but they are locked in together, I believe. Yeah, like slightly. You can move them. Is limited to the kibble, and the rest of the Stegosaurus mode, and also the mouth can open and close. It does have a, I believe it does have plastic port. I don't think it does. Yeah, I don't think it does. Probably just because it couldn't fit in their legs. But yeah, you can store a sword there, and the back I believe is plastic port compatible as well, similar to like Slag, which I mentioned that he does have blast effect port compatible horns, so same applies here with Snarl. So for Swoop, his wings are articulated, so also applies with his head, since it is articulated as well. It cannot rotate, however, but the mouth can open and close. It can also articulate the feet, but that is it for both of them. And yeah, here are all the Dinobots together in this little group shot here, and yeah, they all look pretty good all together, including with Wheelie and stuff. And if you're curious, here is Snarl with Cyberworld Snarl. So yeah, he's a very big Stegosaurus. And overall, that's pretty much it for day 3 of the 12 Days of War. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I shall see you for day 4 of the 12 Days of War. Bye.